Welcome to Housing Talk with Sheronica Outlaw and John Ferreira. I'm your host, Sheronica Outlaw with Berkshire Hathaway, servicing the Hudson Valley and all of New York region. Tell me a little bit about yourself, John.
Hey, Sheronica. I'm John Ferrara with ASAP Mortgage, and I've been providing the most competitive, personalized mortgage experience for my buyers and homeowners for over 2 decades. And buying a home is probably one of the most important investments you will make in a lifetime. Whether it's for personal or investment, we're here to educate you and help you make some sound decisions.
John, before we get started, I wanted to say that I was on your social media page and noticed some great photos I would love to show our audience. Now, before sharing, I would love for you to fill us in on a few of your son's hobbies.
Oh, well, he plays baseball and basketball, but our true passion is fishing. So whether it's in the ocean or lakes or ponds, that's usually where you'll find us in our off time.
All right, great. Now, leave a comment below if you thought these photos were an embarrassment of your fishing skills, or if you love fishing, please share a picture below if you would like. This is our third session of a four-part series of the top 20 questions people wish they asked before buying a home. What is included in a monthly mortgage payment, John?
So what's included in your monthly mortgage statement is the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. There's also, in some cases, mortgage insurance, which is required from a borrower if they're not putting down 20% down or greater.
Okay. Now, if I made extra payments on my mortgage, would that lower my rate over the term?
If you apply extra money towards the principal balance, you will accelerate and pay off the mortgage quicker than the initial term. Yes.
Okay, great. Now, can I use gift money? How does that work, John?
Absolutely. So gift money comes from what we call as a donor. And a donor can be either a mom, dad, brother, sister. Some cases will accept a cousin, but it has to be an immediate family member. And the process is pretty simple. I supply a gift letter to my borrowers. They fill it out, they sign it, date it. They return it back to me with a copy of the most recent statement of where the gift funds are coming from the donor. And this is very important.
Okay. Now, can the mortgage company deny gift money? And if so, what would be one of the reasons?
So they could be denied. If we can't source where the money's coming from that donor, it probably won't be accepted. Also, if it's coming from a friend or a coworker, that won't be accepted, as well.
Okay, so I can't use any friends if they wanted to help me out. It has to be an immediate family member.
Has to be an immediate family member, correct?
Okay, all right, great. Now, what is loan to value ratio? What does that mean?
That's a good question. So loan to value is what I explained to the buyer or borrower, if it's a homeowner, whichever the case. We it's the amount of money that they are borrowing compared to whatever the property value or the purchase price is. So, for example, a 250 loan amount and a property value of 299,000 would be a 95% loan to value, or we abbreviate it LTV. So if you ever see those abbreviations, that LTV, it stands for loan to value.
Okay. Now, John, that seems like an easy formula, but how does that apply to the loan when people don't understand mortgages?
Well, during the pre-approval process, I explained to them what a loan to value is. And if they're applying for 95% financing, that's simply what the loan to value is. It's a pretty simple analogy.
Okay. Now, what is mortgage insurance?
So mortgage insurance is to protect the lender against default, and it's an industry standard. When not putting down 20% or greater,
Okay.
there's PMI involved, and it's simply calculated based on how much money they're putting down is close or far away from 80%, and what their credit scores are. So, for example, the closer they're putting down 15%, 16%, whatever the case may be, the PMI is going to be much less than as if they were putting only 3% down, maybe for like a first time home buyer.
Okay. So if I decide to put more down, I mean more than 20% down, will I be required to pay mortgage insurance on my house?
Not on a conventional mortgage, no.
Okay, not on a conventional mortgage. Okay, great. Now
And
what
it's going to be on the loan. A lot of people get misinformation on this as well. It will be on the loan until the loan reaches 78%. And on a conventional mortgage, it comes off automatically.
Oh, understood. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. Now,
Yeah.
what are closing costs? How do I know what closing costs are?
So closing costs are your bare minimum fees. I like to break it down for my clients. You have your actual closing costs, which is mortgage tax, title, recording fees, attorney fees. These are things that I go through thoroughly with the buyer or the borrower at the time of application. Then you have your seller adjustments for any taxes that may have been paid. You have a small tax escrow that has to be established. It's basically where you're taking X amount of months and putting it into an escrow account for the future. And then you have your homeowner's insurance, which will be paid in full prior for the year prior to closing. So when you combine all these things, they're not always just costs, but I like to break down the out of pocket, what the client is going to need cash to close in the pre approval process, because this is very important.
Okay, so will I know what my closing costs are before closing and how are closing costs calculated?
Yeah, so I calculate them. Some of the fees are calculated by a chart, depending on what county, like the mortgage tax. There's charts for the title insurance, which could
Okay.
be depending on the county, depending on the loan amount. Some fees are fixed fees that are pretty standard, but I go through this with the clients in their pre-approval process.
Okay. All right. Great. John, do me a favor. Can you just stand up real quick? I want the audience to read your shirt, see what it says. Ask me about mortgages. All right.
That's my favorite lucky shirt.
And today's your lucky day.
Yes.
All right. This is Housing Talk with Sheronica and John. This concludes the third session of the top 20 questions people wish they asked before purchasing a home. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notifications for more Sheronica and John with Housing Talk.
As always, guys, this was a lot of fun, and I hope we gave you some sound, information to make some educated decisions. And we hope to see you guys next week.
Absolutely. See you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Thanks again, John.
Thanks, Sheronica.
You're welcome.